Good morning, it's Jonathan Barrett with the morning debrief. In fact, it's the week ahead report. It's Monday morning. It's pretty early this morning. We're off to the Grain Trade Australia annual seminar down in Melbourne. 700 delegates getting together, and I've been lucky enough to be able to speak there just on general economics. If anyone wants a copy of those slides, which I'm doing, then feel free to give us a call because I'm more than happy to send them over to you. Okay, let's get into the market. Let's get into the week ahead. Obviously, last Friday, market closed down a little bit. We'll run through some of those numbers. Obviously, we had that tragedy too in Oslo, and obviously condolences go out to all and sundry there. Onto the market, I guess the Dow was down just a fraction. Still this big theme coming up to the 2nd of August, which is going to be a major key to how the economy is going to perform and how the share market's going to perform. I feel that they will get this through, the increase in the debt ceiling level. Remember GDP, government GDP to debt around about that 94-95%, so it's exceptionally high. So I think they've really got no choice, otherwise you will get a downgrade. You get a downgrade, equity markets get under pressure, and this whole cycle starts again. So I guess it's just really the cost-saving measures which will go through Congress, which will be the key, and also what that means to economic growth down the track. So that's something to be ahead of us this week. We'll probably get some form of flow in terms of how they're going throughout the week, and that will also create some jitters in terms of the markets. Okay, let's have a look at quickly a snapshot of last week. Let's just quickly run through there. The Dow was down 43 points. S&P was up 1, the Nasdaq was up 24. Top 50 was up 9. FTSE was up 35. DAX was up 36. And the DAX up 36 here, and the CAC was up 25. Local market, we were down just up 3, 4,590, holding on to those gains, which I thought was pretty good indeed. So that's generally what's happening with the stock side of the world, and I think that obviously probably expect a little bit of that to occur and continue this week. A lot of moving and shaking. Let's have a quick look at one of the charts there. Look at the local market first on a daily note. Let's just have a quick look at it. There we go. Let's just load in there. Let's see if we can come up now. There we are. As you can see, look, these momentum indicators look superb. The market probably will suggest that we got a little bit of sideways price action. A lot of key will hang on what happens in China in terms of some of their data coming out, and that to me I think is obviously quite important. So far it looks like things are slowing down there, which is exactly what they wanted, and that's exactly what happened. Whilst we say above these levels, 4,400, that's a buy-fiction point, we've got to assume a positive stance. We might come back to just a fraction here, given that the Dow was a little bit weak, and but overall, still got to remain relatively bullish on that front. Just having a quick look at the Dow. Still a bit of concerns over there as to what's happening. It does look like a little bit of a double top up here, particularly there, so you might get a little bit of weakness. The weakness will be as a result of the market trying to find its feet ahead of the August 2 election. Okay, let's now move on to some of the other things. Just quickly look at the dollar index. Dollar index has obviously been smashed out of this consolidation pattern. Let's see what actually happens, because it is right on its lows, and we broke and failed to the top side. Now we're back in that. This might be low. Only next 24, 48 hours will actually tell whether or not that is correct in terms of how that opportunity operates. By all intents and purposes, this trend is intact. Now it should actually head down to this lower end here, 73.70, and then maybe even down to that lower end. But if it holds, then it's just more consolidation and more source, I guess, to suggest that that the dollar can turn around. Okay, let's have a quick look at that Aussie. 108.34, right on its highs here. Let's see what actually turns about. If it's a ranging market, it shouldn't go too much higher. Do not rule out 110 as a double top. Let's see how that unfolds. Momentum indicators still remain strong, but it doesn't look as strong as what looked the other day. There's no doubt about it. Just coming back on that hourly chart, you can see just a little bit of concern there. On the day, it might be a small short if anyone's thinking of that. Momentum indicators. Well, they're also saying the same thing, so might be worth just a small little short if you're looking at it. Dollar yen, right on those lows. Actually opened this morning low, so I think let's see what actually occurs. It needs to break back through 79.20 in order to start that trend to the top side. And remember, Bank of Japan intervention is certainly around the cards, around these levels. So just be a little bit cautious there. Righty-ho, let's move on to some of the other primary inputs. Crude oil, varies just no man's game at the moment, 100 at the top side. With this optimism in the States, or the level of optimism picking up, I think we've got to be minded by that. And if that's the case, then should see things start to pick up. That optimism will carry through as they get through, as that bill gets passed through Congress. And as to whether or not let's see what happens. But the market's got to be bullish that gets passed. Same with copper, 439. Looks like it's just hanging around here. Not very positive about it moving on too much higher, but just stick with it and see what happens. Just having a quick look at the grains. Out of the blocks this morning, very strong, up 2.44%. I don't know why that happened. I'll try and dig around, but that's a very bullish start to the week because corn was also up there. Obviously, it'll have something to do with the weather because obviously that's going to be a big key there. Weather, obviously, in the States, but I'll do a little bit more digging and shaking there. Have a quick look at gold now. Gold very steady at the top side and maybe perhaps coming off a little bit, but let's really see what happens. Quite volatile, and I guess the more it goes sideways, the more it builds up momentum for a move higher. You've just got to be guided by it. I've mentioned you can see some of those areas there of good support. So let's see what happens. But I guess in the lead up to what's happening, I guess in the Europe and America, this should be relatively better bid. And if it's really relatively better bid, then you should see it start to edge higher. Okay, that's all I've got from there. Let's now have a look at the economic calendar. And that's just coming up. I guess before we go into that, let's just have a quick look at oops, there we go. Alrighty-ho. Let's have a quick check here. I guess the important thing, a few of the data that came out last week, just to be mindful of, and we had European industrial orders were up 15.5. That's quite bullish. The consensus was only up 10.3. CPI in Canada was up pretty strong at 3.1%. That was out on last Friday. Retail sales in Canada also up just a fraction. Now in Australia, what have we got coming out Monday? And there's quite a bit of data out this week. Producer prices in Australia would be key to see what the Reserve Bank actually did in terms of not moving on interest rates. That we think will be widely watched. A little bit of data there in Kiwi land. On Tuesday, RBA Governor Stevens speaks in Sydney. I don't think no surprises there from what he has to say. S&P Case-Shiller Home Price Index, new home sales in the States. They'll probably be the pick of the bunch, the Tier 1 data from there. On Wednesday, a little bit of data out in Australia and New Zealand. Durable goods orders will be probably the Tier 1 data this week out of the States and CapEx. And we've also got the Fed Beige Book, also a bit of data out of there in Japan. Coming into Thursday, Eurozone confidence, industry and economic confidence, pending home sales in the States to see whether there's any momentum there in terms of recovery, and the CPI data in Japan. Don't be surprised if that data does come in a little bit better than expected, and because we just filled with that rebuild, you'll see people chasing prices. On Friday, not a lot of data out there. We've got a little bit in the UK. In the States, GDP, personal consumption, and Chicago Purchases Managers Index. So quite a bit out there. I guess the key for me this week is going to be seeing really how the market weathers the August 2 announcement or vote. Has to start to go through. We are at the 11th hour in the States. We might get a little bit of moving and shaking in the equity market as a result, but if they start to see that there's a hint of good news coming through, then we might get a bit of euphoric buying. So a little bit still on the fence, I guess, if anything, but from these levels, I think perhaps any dip can be looked at as an opportunity to buy, particularly in the share market. Well, that's about it from me. I hope everyone has a great week, and we'll certainly talk to you tomorrow. Bye for now.